manufacturers. And like that only for the last, I can say from the 2005, we started I started focusing into the steel plant waste recycle. But it's an irony that in our country, we don't promote. Like in China, we say the way they're developing because they promote the indigenization. Here we don't. 2005, we had done 100 tons trial of BOF sludge without mill scale in a converter in Indian Steel Company, successfully. Later on, they placed order for 60 tons per day plant. But they were not giving us for a long period. You put up a plant of 25 crores and they give you only 3 years, you can't. So we had to withdraw from that. The many reminders were there. So like that, now, for the last 5-6 years, we have given so many proposals. Every steel plant, whether it is JSPL, whether it is Tata Steel, whether it is Bhushan, or maybe it is all steel plants, every corner of whatever generation of ferrogenous waste I'm talking, I have been there, I have seen, assessed, suggested solutions to them. Even so, written letters to their head of the companies that how much you can save in a year by going for the products. Even for establishing the credentials of our products, because otherwise we were not accepted. We have done a tie-up with IMMTY Bhubaneswar. We have sent samples to them. They are developing at the lab scale. We have to do the then industrial scale. Industrial scale, you can't do without putting up a plant of 10 to 25 or 40 crore rupees. We are ready to do that also, that we will put up the plant, you give us a guarantee, if we give you 5 days, 6 days, successful product, and we give you in also the lab or maybe the pilot scale, maybe few kgs of material with the strength and everything. I could have shared with you what strength we had achieved in that 2005 of our sludge briquettes. And I tell you, in our country, in fact, in Vajak Steel Plant, the briquetting and palletization tender which they have done, I have done every study, I have given all the details, I have done so many details, the others also did, I know it, the HASCO also did. But even location, how much land required, marking the land on the ground, everything we also did. But ultimately what happens? It happens that you have to have a 1 million ton plant running for the last 5 years or another 75,000 tons running plant. So obviously when in India it is not, whatever the MNCs are doing in India, they will not share with us. And what we develop in India is out of any value. We have to go. We ran after the POSCO plant where there is another company doing $1 million, they were charging the fee, we agreed for that. But ultimately when they found that in the JV agreement, there is jointly and severally responsibility coming to them, they ran away. We withdrew from that tender. We could not continue. Now re-tendering done, we are not there because we don't have experience. So if you ask like that, we are putting up a 80 crore rupees plant. If we don't have the proper technology, if we are not sure of our technology, why we'll spend 80 crore rupees? Why are you putting such stringent qualifications? I tell you another thing, Techno Enviro Services, for the last 7 years, we are startup company. We are MSME. There are directives from the government, strict directions from the 2018 also. Who bothers? Nobody. I'm especially talking the PSUs who had to take care of the startups and MSUs, MSMEs, and also the indigenization. We don't trust our IMMTY, CSIRs. Then how will we ever become Atmanirbhar or make in India? I share you with very interesting, the furnace standing vehicle, which they were buying from 4.5 crore rupees, I developed for 1 crore rupees, better than the one machine came under project from the international company, and one mine was commissioned in 1 week, other was commissioned in 1 month. Ours are never less than 85% availability, 95% availability. They were never above 80. But when similar machine is used as a debraking machine in the steel plant, in LT of some of the PSUs, when I asked them to issue me also the LT, Arey bhaiya, aapne to, you have made it in for the aluminum industry, you have not made it for steel industry. Our system was running for almost 5 years, 4 years, where we were devoured. Because I said, whether you are buying a truck, you do see that where is carrying the iron sheets or is carrying the wooden logs. You have to see how much is the tonnage required, how much is the horsepower, and how much is torque power, and what all other specifications. You compare that way. This is how in India, make in India never happens. I have given a proposal which I know that nobody else can do. I cannot share details about that. There's a 57 lakh rupees per day loss to the company. And for the last 6 years, they are procrastinating. The procrastination and decision making, I'm talking especially in the PSUs, and where they are also the major player and generator of waste. And you can see how till now any effective solution has been found. Secondly, another thing I found, most of the people were talking that we can do the micropelletization, put in the sinter plant. Sintering itself is a very, very, I can say, CO2 footing industry. At the same time, it's slowly becoming obsolete. And why to do? Because I know there's a bigger challenge to put the low Fe material as a briquette into the blast furnace, because the compressive strength required goes beyond 200. And we have developed that briquette also. But in my lab scale, 200 compressive strength is required beyond for using in the blast furnace. But you think if you can put low Fe, like your BF sludge and the dust, or other low Fe like your material handling area, dust and all, low material, if you put in the blast furnace, you are saving not only the energy, you are also saving the sintering cost, you are saving on everything. But no, we don't have experience. But did you have any plant running in anywhere in the world? Sorry, we don't have. So this is the crux of the situation. Who is going to bother about it? We have so many. I have attended maybe 200 different type of seminars, and this type of webinar maybe I'm not very used to. And even in NITI Oil 3 days workshop, today Mr. Satpathy was there. He was there in that 3-day workshop with me. I've done in international presentations, talked about what we can do in India, but in India we can't do, because we are all after MNCs, bring them, do it, just make money. That's all. We don't promote Indian concept, and we don't want Indians to come. Thank you very much. And I think the main purpose was to share that we had done in 2009. 2005, the briquetting, I could show you the strength and what were the chemical composition and how the orders were placed and how it was not placed in a very practical way, and how we were devoured to now. We had raised this question that we have the past experience, we have IMMTY with us to develop the technology. Why we cannot? Why you put conditions of 2 million ton or 1 million ton plant running for last 5 years when we have to put up at a BOO project? I don't know what we do. And this was my thought to share with you all, and what we have been achieved, what we have been done by us, and what we are doing now. That slides I couldn't share with you. And with that, I'll conclude. And more or less, this is how we are in India. Thank you very much.
So anyone from the panel would like to respond to what Mr. Verma has said about the challenges that he had faced? Mr. Pasari, yes, please. You have to unmute. Yeah, we can hear you.
Now he's muted again. Anish ji, unmute कर लीजिए. अभी ठीक है. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll 100% agree with Mr. Pawan Verma ji, because my company Gang Engineering Private Limited have made 2 pellet plant of 1.2 million ton capacity, and both of my pellet plant are operating at rated capacity since their inception. And very unfortunate when the tender for NMDC Nagarnar steel plant is coming up for a 2 million ton pellet plant. They have made stringent deliberately to eliminate us that we cannot bid that tender, and then they have made it that eligibility criteria should be 2 million. If I have made 1.2 million ton, why I cannot make 2 million ton? But it is very unfortunate that we have been deliberately eliminated in that tender process by the eligibility criteria. I don't know who is behind this, but it is happening in India. And Mr. Pawan Verma is very much correct. These are the things how we are unable to understand how we will become Atmanirbhar.
Anilji, you have attended.
I think these are the things which I think the platforms like Mr. Mukherjee should also raise with the government that there should be MSME support and also startup support and promoting the Indian research institutes. Wonderful things they are doing in IMT Bhubaneswar. Wonderful things. Talk about anything they are having. But commercialization is possible through the private industry. Private industry can do it. Tata Steel can do, Bhushan can do, and the other companies can do. JSPL can introduce, but no public sector companies.
Let me tell you, Dr. Mukesh Kumar, could you hear it? Dr. Mukesh Kumar, are you? I can see him; he is still there. But I will discuss this in the next webinar also, because we are going to have this series together where I will take it up with Dr. V.K. Saraswat. Dr. Saraswat, I invited for this, but today he was tied up. He came for our last refractory webinar. So we have Dr. Saraswat or Dr. Vattal, any of them from NITI Aayog. I'm going to raise this issue because this has to go to the Prime Minister's office, and the Prime Minister's office, the way we can reach is through either Dr. V.K. Srivastava, or Mr. Vattal. So Mr. Saraswat or Mr. Vattal, I'll try and get in this one of the series. And Pawanji, I need you to be vocal, and also through my magazine. And Anilji has attended quite a few of my webinars.
Mr. Mukherjee, in fact, in your earlier webinar on raw material Atmanirbhar or something like that, in which the company from Austria, the gentleman had also said about this thing, that we have to have a very... yes. And
Andrin is also...
Yes, it was picked up earlier also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrin brought up the...
Yes,
right.
yes,
so this is something which is a policy making decision which only Dr. Saraswat or Mr. Vattal, either of these two gentlemen can take it up, because they're directly working with the Prime Minister's office.
Mr. Mukesh Kumar, I know for the last 30 years, we had a lot of interaction on these issues. As you know, policy and other things are different and ground realities are different. I'm very sorry.
Let me tell you, let me tell you whether it is politicization or Ministry of Steel has very little to do, because Ministry of Steel is pushing it, but it has to be not at the Ministry of Steel level,
why so
but at the Prime Minister.
The voice is not clear now. I think again my signal is weak.
So in the Prime Minister's office 10 years ago, so he knows how I have been working on raising these issues on various platforms. And in fact, I was surprised when Dr. Saraswat, I brought him for the last refractory webinar where we had Subrata was also there, when Dr. Saraswat was there. So he does a lot of research. I could see Dr. Saraswat digging into the issue. Dr. Sanjay Konde was also there in that webinar. I think Dr. Konde knows how much of research work Dr. V.K. Saraswat has been doing on the subjects you bring to his notice. So we will relentlessly work on it. And as Sabosachida and Subrata both, we have decided we will keep working on this with these series one after another. And the last one, we will concentrate only on policy division. So this is one issue we are going
policy
to
decision. Mr. Mukherjee, I feel that in policy decision, at least there should be a space given for the Indian research and Indian technology development also in the implementation of technologies in India. And one more point which because of my signal got disrupted, I couldn't continue. We are talking a lot about micropalletization for the sinter plant, which I couldn't continue, disconnected my voice in between. I will suggest that high Fe material which can replace the scrap in the converter, which we did 100 tons trial in India, why we are going still for the micropalletization? There should be some policy decision by the government not to waste. There is a CO2 addition will be in from sintering to blast furnace, then coming to the BOF, and where you will be saving the scrap, high value scrap, instead of replacing then as a micropallet low value iron, because the micropalletization generally will have 55 to 58% iron, not more than that. So I feel that is one more issue which has to be in policy decision, that government or the Ministry of Steel or the think tank people have to decide. We cannot just decide any technology, anytime, anywhere. One has to see which is the best for the country, best for the our circular economy and sustainability. We cannot just decide, I want to make micropallet, I don't want to make briquetting. There should be some way to decide. I can tell you, like yesterday I found one of the steel company CEO was saying we are going for micropalletization. I know they are putting everything. In other company also I found that they are going for micropalletization. Whereas high Fe, I found, I did analysis of their BOF sludge is containing more than 65% Fe. And then you're making it, putting in a micropalletization, including mill scale also. So it's I'll say the national waste, which we have done earlier also, we have been doing for the last 30, 40 years, dumping it outside, mixing it all, fly ash and everything, and making it of non-usable or reusable, I can say, other than landfill. I can tell you, I have known one cement steel plant in PSU only, where this BF sludge, which is 150 tons per day, containing around 31% carbon, which I analyzed, and 42% iron, which Mr. IMMTY Chief Scientist, Mr. Biswal was talking of separation of carbon and all, that is being mixed with this fly ash pumping station and goes into the fly ash pump for the last 40 years, 150 tons per day. How much iron and how much carbon we are wasting? Who is asking questions? Nobody. We are talking, deliberating for the last 7 years. I am into various platforms and forums, from NITI Aayog to the CSIR and FICCI, Ministry of Steel, and first time I am on into yours, otherwise in many other steel platforms. But what implementation, procrastination, and I'm talking hats off to our private sector companies, JSW, I will salute them. Then many others. But some decision making little bit delayed in, like in Tata Bhushan, the plant which they have put up, that plant, every nut and bolt I had done studies, because we are also was earlier tied up with the company who supplied to them technology and the equipments in Korea. I have been to around 7 steel companies in the world to see how they are processing. I would have shown you the slides. I would have shown nobody calls in even the balance sheet of the POSCO, they don't call waste work at all. They call it byproduct. I never use in my presentation waste. I'm putting waste to wealth in my presentation today because it was a waste to wealth presentation today. Otherwise, I call it as a byproduct, and let us make it valuable. Name it first. When you talk with waste, we think, chalo yaar, वेस्ट है, बाद में देखेंगे. Right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you have noticed, when our topic reads reducing, reusing and recycling of byproducts, we have not said reusing your waste to wealth, because people conceive it as waste. That's why we are calling it waste.
Yes.
People conceive it that way, but as you must have seen yesterday and today, Dr. Mukesh Kumar started by saying nothing is waste. So when we talk about zero waste, we say nothing is waste, because that's why we target zero waste. Maybe suppose we have one comment, one quick comment to add on.
Byproduct in India. Even Tata Steel, I said in 2005 it's a byproduct. Nobody was using word byproduct in India in 2005.
Sampodha, any quick comment?
No, I think Mr. Verma has his heart in the right place and his head is very clear. So I also personally think that we should think about circular economy with a focus, not necessarily invest on technology that's age old. So rather think about things that are going to be differently treated and can bring us results. So he's right on the carbon footprint, because that's going to be the focus of the future. I mean, there are every year there are conferences and there are assemblies of the head of the states, and they're making promises, they're making commitments, but where is it going? And that's why Nirmala, in fact, Subhrata also raised it in one of our internal meetings. And I think we need to think about how we bring all these thoughts into another stage, another level. And the level should be, I think we create that platform. Nirmala, you have been able to create this platform. Let's create this platform where people like Mr. Satpathy or Dr. Saraswat or other policy makers, they don't leave the session. They listen to people like PAWAN VERMA and get the input. So maybe we make them shorter. So I take encouragement from Mr. Verma's words, and I think if we continue to remain in the committee, and if this is going to be, in my belief, will be several sessions that we will hold and host.
That's what I conveyed to Pawanji in the message box, that don't worry, this is a series which is going to continue longer than what we thought. And in our next internal meeting, what we will do is we will, when we talk about the policy decision-making part, we are going to ensure that, the structure is different, so that there are a few speakers who speak before, let's say Dr. Saraswat, or before Mr. Satpathy. These people should stay back till a few speakers have targeted the issue, and then we give them a chance.
Yes.
So
Yes. Very correct. Very correct.
I mean, they're very correct. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
That's what.
But the issue is they won't stay back for more than 1 hour. So within that 1 hour, we'll have to.
So let's do it. So then let's do it for 1 hour.
You select only the people who have the right issue to take up. You select the people, the speakers in the beginning before they come, and they can listen to them, give their deliberations. There are persons who have a very specific, ask them to submit to you, what every panelist then submit to you, what exactly they want to say regarding the policy. And if you find that the policies are important, then you put them before. That will be, I think, my suggestion.
I'll give you an example.
Nirmala, can we take this internally through our meetings rather than?
Yeah. We'll have only the last speaker left, Mr. Anil Pasari. So Anil ji, आप थोड़ा जल्दी आज खत्म कर लीजिए. Next issue we are going to, the next one where we are going to discuss.